Donald Trump is just like, you know, we disagree on some things, but I really like how he's such a winner. He's blushing. Is he blushing? Am I crazy or is he blushing? The media has been very unfair to Zohran Mamdani. I agree with him. We've got to have city-run grocery stores. We got to freeze the rent and we got to build a lot of housing. He's right. Like, Trump just loves charismatic men. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that Trump is gay. But Trump really likes attractive, charismatic men.
Well, thank you very much. We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people. Starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people.
God, he's
beat him easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. Anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have, hopefully, a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Trump, Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I've got a question for you and then also one for Mayor-elect.
Sure.
For you, you referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Can you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he doesn't?
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question. And on your first part, I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And
by the way, Chad,
discussions.
Did I not predict it? Did I not predict that this is how it was going to go? Donald Trump is going to be completely enamored with him. He loves men. He loves dominant men who win, and he gets giddy around men that he's attracted to. Like, it's so predictable every single time. If you have a man with a strong personality, Donald Trump is just like, you know, we disagree on some things, but I really like how he's such a winner. Like, he does it every time. He likes Xi. He likes like fucking, like, he does it all the time. He's like, Xi Jinping, he's so impressive. He's ruling over 1.4 billion people. That takes a lot of guts. Like, he does this shit. So of course he's gonna do it for Mamdani too. He always bends the knee to men. It's every time. That's all you can do. If you're weak, if you capitulate, he makes fun of you, like the way he makes fun of the British Prime Minister, because he's a weak, pathetic loser who's always capitulating.
Something, I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people.
Oh, God. The glazing is so funny. Oh, God, he loves men so much, dude. He really does.
Actually.
He's such a New York City.
Very liberal people, he won't surprise them because they already like him.
And Mr. Mamdani, It sounds like
He's blushing. Is he blushing? Am I crazy or is he blushing? Look at the way Trump looks at him. Is he blushing or something? Bro, he's the throat goat. He's the throat goat. He's the throat goat.
He's going to surprise some conservative people, actually. And some very liberal people he won't surprise them because they already like him.
And Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who had betrayed the country. You said you would be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not...
I mean, you see what I mean? Oh my God. Trump likes you if you insult him. He likes if you're a fighter. He's such a predictable fucking guy. That's why capitulating on the shutdown was stupid, because Trump does not respect capitulating. He respects if you fight him. And if you're strong enough to win, then he will admire that. Donald Trump lost. He tried to fight Zohran and he lost. So he likes Zohran more. That's it. It's just that simple. If you can fight him and win, he likes you. Like, he admires that because he's a fucking right winger, and that's how they think. Right wingers are like that. They capitulate to strength and strength alone. And so because Zohran won, and because he is the winner and he is the mayor and he's in charge, Donald Trump orients to him. That's just how these type of personalities operate. And so, like, fighting right wingers, if you're talking to a left winger, compromising and treating it is how you do it. Okay, that's how left wingers like. Left wingers like when we both share. That's the way we're oriented. So we always, but when you're dealing with a right winger, they're not like that. You just have to beat them, and then they'll go along with it. It's just personality types. It is so fucking predictable that he was gonna act like this. It's so funny. And of course, every conservative is molding, because guess what? Donald Trump is not really a conservative. He's just a right-wing. He's a fascist authoritarian personality, which is not quite the same thing as believing in, like, trickle down or whatever the fuck.
It's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
Mr. President, I'm Rashad from MTV Lebanon.
Good.
I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East regarding
Sure.
you said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position. And Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like, what do you say for the Lebanese today? It's the independent state in Lebanon. And what is your next move to push toward disarmament?
Sure. Well, we are pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and, frankly, everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday. We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming in. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or 21 trillion dollars. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now, for the first time, peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is a potential to invite the Lebanese president.
I love the fact that Donald Trump knows absolutely nothing about history. It makes everything so funny. It's like Donald Trump knows less about history than the average, like, Hoi 4 playing nerd. Like, if you have a Paradox game on your hard drive, you know more about history than Donald Trump. It is actually embarrassing how dumb he is. We haven't had any peace in the Middle East. We have no peace in the Middle East for 3,000 years, bro.
Oh, sure. Oh, I would do that, absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East. I think
we desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that. I'll do that. I'll sign it. Give it to me. I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
It's so funny to me that the pathetic nature of Donald Trump. Remember, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. He is clothed in tremendous power, okay? And the fact that he is glazing Zohran is so funny. You know, you would expect going into the White House that is the person that's being intimidated, right? Right? Like, that is you going into the away arena. And Donald Trump is doing the, let's just say, wide Trump nodders.
To send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, you know, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out, maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
Yeah, two questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, from BBC in a second. But first of all, for the mayor-elect. You're both from different parts of the political spectrum. You're both populists, though. And I just wonder to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your campaign.
Well, I actually told the president that, you know, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focus on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers.
By the way, this makes perfect sense. If you have a material analysis of politics, it makes perfect sense that if somebody is struggling in the world today and somebody says, I will help you, if you're politically naive and you're non-ideological, you're like, well, fuck it. It makes perfect sense. But the difference between Donald Trump and right-wing bullshit and the left is the left actually wants to build programs that work and are proven to work and will deliver change. That's why FDR got over 60% of the vote in re-election. That's why LBJ got 60% of the vote in re-election. When you deliver Social Security, when you deliver Medicare, people go, oh, that actually worked. My life is better. And everything didn't fall apart. Ronald Reagan was making videos about how when Medicare happens, it's going to lead to the doctors not being able to live where they want. They're going to be the government's going to order them to live in areas they don't want to live. And all the fucking, you know, all the doom and gloom about Medicare failed. And it didn't actually come to pass, and people just had health care who didn't have it before. When Social Security passed, poverty among seniors went from 50% to less than 10%. A bunch of seniors just had money coming in, and now they could afford to live. And what happened to that? They were incredibly loyal to FDR, and they were like, FDR saved my life. FDR gave me this check that I depend upon. I love FDR. I vote for him for 4 fucking presidential terms. It's not that complicated. That's why centrists they want you to do small shit, because they know if we passed Medicare for all, if we passed a Green New Deal, then all the centrist donors in the world would not be able to get you to vote for a fucking loser like Michelle Obama. You'll be voting for the people that delivered change for you, not somebody because they're a brand or somebody because you have nostalgia. You'll be voting for the people that delivered for you. And that's what they're trying to prevent. They don't want a politics of actual accomplished change winning. They're scared of that. Do you think this will be perceived as caving or collaborating with Trump? In what way is that? I mean, some people will try to say that, right? Some people will try to say that kind of shit, but this is very clearly Zohran's not glazing Trump. Did Zohran compliment Trump? Did I miss it?
In partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices because, you know, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them. You know, if we're sending them.
I'm going to work with Mamdani to put pressure on the corporations to lower prices.
Fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true. We have to get Con Edison to start lowering their rates.
Absolutely.
And if I may, last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue BBC for up to $5 billion. You were going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates on those issues?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister. We made a deal with UK. I like him. He's a fine person. And, you know, I think they have some big energy problems. You know, they've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to start using other methods because their energy is out of control. Talking about in the UK, it's out of control. And he's got that problem. He's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy.
The UK has so much wind potential. They just don't have the ultra high voltage lines to transfer it from Scotland to down, and it's so dumb. And it would be the easiest thing in the world to build, and they're fucking worthless and idiotic. It's actually embarrassing how poorly the UK is being run.
Energy problem, and we talk about it. He's a good man. Prime Minister's a good man.
You had a chance to speak this week.
I haven't spoken this week.
I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify that your answer to...
I love the fact that he's just like, yep, I'm a socialist. Fuck him. Like, that's the right way to handle that. It's ridiculous. Like, who gives a shit? They're dumb.
Nelson, he asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's easier.
Oh my God, Trump is rescuing him. He's trying. He doesn't want him to have to say he's a... Oh my God, Trump is like, who gives a shit what the right-wing reporter says? It's actually embarrassing. I'm kind of feeling like I almost pity him. I'm pitying Trump. I don't know how he managed to make me feel bad for Trump. But God, he's like, oh my God. This is so funny. Like, how do you even explain this? It is, Donald Trump is just not, he just doesn't care about ideology at all. Like, Donald Trump just wants people to like him. And he wants to be around popular people. And the policies that he supports, like, he doesn't care about any of the policies that are happening under his administration. He's that fucking dumb and corrupt. He just wants to make as much money. He wants to be considered important. He wants people to like him. He's such a fucking dipshit. He's an actual moron. And you can manipulate him. It's that simple. He wants to just be liked. What a fucking loser.
It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And Mr. President, I wanted to ask you also about this Ukraine plan.
Yeah.
President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity. There's been criticism that this deal...
You mean he doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of
Well, he'll have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, you know, they should just keep fighting, I guess, you know.
The suggestion that he made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
Well, at some
accurate?
point he's going to have to accept something, you know. He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Katie, do you have something in
Mr. President, thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they will follow international law. doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution.
They're trying to be like, don't you like Netanyahu more than him? Aren't you worried he's going to arrest Netanyahu? Netanyahu's not in the room, lady. Donald Trump is never going to fight for someone who's not in the room.
What is your response to that?
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms of it could be covered by international law, local law. It's covered by a lot of laws, but it's covered by U.S. law. Are you referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses and enforces international law. Is that at odds with?
No, I don't know. Would you want to? Do you want to respond?
Yeah, I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about and something that I know many New Yorkers want.
We were with ICE.
We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has very little to do with what that is.
Mr. Mamdani,
What we did is we discussed crime, more than ICE per se. We discussed crime, and he doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime, and I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to, and he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction, and he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And you know, we actually people would be shocked, but I want to see the same thing.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
Jack?
You guys have to remind yourselves that Donald Trump's dad made money on public housing. So I'm sure Mamdani could talk to Donald Trump about public housing buildings or whatever, and Donald Trump being like, you know, he's a New Yorker where public housing and rent control and that shit is not like shocking to Trump. He was a Democrat for a lot of time. So I could easily imagine Mamdani saying shit that would trick Trump and would make every single right-winger have heartburn.
Mr. President, I want to know one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention
He's gonna Zohran's let me take this one. Oh my god. Oh my god. The conservative press is getting mocked. Every time they try to like insult Zohran, he's like, here, let me take this one. Oh my god, he's completely charmed Trump. I've never seen Trump he's like putty in Zohran's hands. He's letting Zohran is gonna be like, I didn't say white people. Shut the fuck up.
Or Christians or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our
But to
city.
be clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
That's what you said.
no, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters target.
Also, you shouldn't let people bait you into that kind of shit. If you study like socialism in the past, letting people bait you into going like, oh, I'm gonna tax white people that's exactly how they trick people with that dumbass shit. Don't let people bait you into that. Just say I'm taxing the richer people. And in America, newsflash, richer people are white most of the time. So yes, if you say I'm going to raise taxes on rich people, you're raising taxes on the rich white people more than you are on, other groups. It's doing the Southern strategy in reverse. Instead of saying like, oh, I'm going to cut welfare, I'm going to cut these programs in public schools, I'm going to cut this social program, or I'm going to raise sales taxes. That hurts black people more than white people. But you're talking about economic things. Similarly here, you talk about raising taxes on the rich. It's going to affect who's more likely to be rich. It's rich white people. Now, I'm not rich. I know you're not rich. So it's not affecting us. But the oldest trick in the book was to be like, oh man, they're taxing rich white guys. That's not fair. You're white, right? They want to keep white men down. And it's like, no, we want to tax rich people, motherfucker. Are you rich? Then it's not affecting you.
Please, God.
I've got a lot of white friends.
Protesters just targeted a synagogue in New York. Are you concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term, we don't want good money going after bad. And we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, subject to what policies are being set. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may...
It's so funny because the coming socialist 60% landslide when AOC wins, it's going to be so funny because Trump, he's not going to be running because of the Constitution. And then people are going to be trying to push him out. He's going to be all bitter. It's going to be so funny. It's going to be so funny when they're like, well, you can't run again. And they're like kind of pushing him to the side. And they're trying to like get JD Vance or somebody to like, and Trump's going to be all bitter and mad that he's being pushed to the side. It's going to be so funny.
One of the things I really gleaned very much today, he'd like to see him come down, ideally, by building a lot of additional housing. Yeah. That's the ultimate way. He agrees.
See, Trump is such a fucking old real estate guy where he's just like, yes, building. And you know what? Like, sometimes we talk about this in socialist thought, which is the difference between financial bourgeoisie and industrialist bourgeoisie. And in old school, like leftist, like we're winning. One of the things that we do exploit is the tension between industrialist billionaires and finance billionaires, because finance billionaires don't build anything and they use financial capital to control industrialists and developers, and developers and industrialists chafe against that, and it could cause intra bourgeois civil war, and labor can exploit that. And then there are international bourgeoisie, and then there's nationalist bourgeoisie. And those tensions can be exploited by our side. And Donald Trump is exactly showing it, which is like, nobody likes Wall Street, really. Nobody likes that you have to pay 10% of the money you make to a fucking guy who did nothing but borrow money from the Fed first. So going after finance capital is always fun.
With that, and so
this is so funny.
If I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect... The media has been very unfair to Zohran Mamdani. I agree with him. We've got to have city-run grocery stores. We got to freeze the rent, and we got to build a lot of housing. He's right. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. Honestly, this is almost too funny. It's almost too good for Zohran, because it's like a lot of people hate Trump, and Trump is so charmed by Zohran that it's actually like, maybe it's like he's winning too hard. He's winning too hard. People are going to be like, MAGA socialism is real. Oh my God, MAGA socialism, it happened. Zohran was really the MAGA socialist all along. Oh no. Help, because I want New York City to be great. Look, I love New York City. It's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there. Now I'm right here. We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, Dave de Blasio. I thought it was a tremendous setback for the city. I think this mayor can do some things that are going to be really great. De Blasio, of all the former mayors, de Blasio is the biggest supporter of Zohran. It's so funny how Zohran has united everyone. Even like he's got like Trump hates de Blasio, but de Blasio is like the biggest supporter of Zohran of all the former mayors. In fact, he has like members of de Blasio's administration, part of Zohran's administration. Like, this is so funny how Trump is just completely tricked. And he's so stupid. He's such a dumb piece of shit, but he's also so, like, the right wingers can't say anything because their voters like Trump. So they can't, even though it's ideologically incoherent,
They can't say anything.
Mr. President,
Okay, how about you? Go
Thank you,
ahead,
Mr.
please.
President. You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
Total
I
victory.
think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. You know, he may have different views, but in many ways, you know, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, you know, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after.
This is like if you're doing D&D and you roll 20 on the persuasion check and the fucking GM is like mauling because you keep rolling 20s. And it's just like, fuck! All right, well, the guy listens to your argument and he's interested and, you know, but then he brings up a point to disagree with you. Roll persuasion again, 20 again. Fuck!
To the meeting, yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for
Please.
the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
Did you?
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but if he flew, that's a lot quicker too. No, I mean he's working very hard. For him to be, that's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion.
He keeps defending Zohran. He keeps intervening to rescue Zohran. And these are the tougher questions, like, is Trump a fascist? Why did you fly? Like, where Zohran would have to, like, finesse something. And Trump keeps rescuing him. He keeps rescuing him from the media.
And you did a piece in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump did do a peace and work hard to make the peace? Because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that...
See, Mamdani is such a good elder whisperer. It's like, honestly, this is pure Mike from PA vindication. I've never been proven more right in my life about like, honestly, he just knows how to talk to old people. You tell them nostalgic shits from their life. Like, Trump just loves charismatic men. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that Trump is gay, but Trump really likes attractive, charismatic men. I'm just noticing that, okay? Like, he really does like attractive, charismatic men.
We have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Mr.
President,
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think Leader Schumer and Leader Jeffries, have to follow?
Oh my God, Trump loves that question because he's gonna say yes. If Trump says yes to this, I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused on New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him. but I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. Do you consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
Okay, you know, as an ideological socialist, like, this is all fun and games, and obviously I think Donald Trump is an incredibly dangerous fascist, and I know Zohran agrees with me. That being said, part of what we need to do is convince Americans that socialism is an acceptable political ideology that will give them good things. And if we can bamboozle Donald Trump to helping us do a bunch of left-wing shit in New York City and it looks good, and we do that. Now, Donald Trump is an incredibly dangerous piece of shit, and he's like threatening war on Venezuela and supporting Israel's, like, the reality of how horrible his administration is. We don't forget that, right? Like, we don't forget that. But if he's dumb enough to be fucking tricked by us, then trick him. I don't have a problem with tricking Donald Trump. Trick him away. You know what I mean? And when Zohran went to this meeting, I was very skeptical of it. I was like, you're going into the lion's den and they're just gonna stab you in the back. And Zohran, apparently he had a strategy to charm Trump and I could not even see, and he succeeded. I feel weird. Can I say that I feel weird, like, seeing us win this hard? And it's so funny. Like, I'm kind of shook, to be honest.
Being the mayor of New York City is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I always said, you know, one of the things I would have
He's like, I kind of wish I was mayor.
loved to be someday as the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. Turning point, one way or the other. It could go great, or it can go in a different direction. And I think you really have a chance to make it great. I appreciate what you're saying.
Mr. President, you say you love New York City. Mr. Mamdani, does New York City...
I honestly do think Donald Trump is a little bit... See, the thing is, this is where the fascists really failed. You have a New Yorker. And honestly, Trump is just in love. He's just a New York obsessed guy. He loves New York. So Mamdani winning, like, in the cognitive dissonance of New York, socialism is bad versus New York elected Mamdani. In Trump's mind, that means New York can't be wrong. He's such a New York nationalist that he's with New York no matter what New York is doing. And you see this kind of shit. Like, if Donald Trump was born in China, he would be a dyed-in-the-wool communist. He would be in the Communist Party. He would be sitting there waving the fucking flag of the party, going like, the Communist Party is the best. He's a regime guy.
New York City loves a future that is affordable, and I can tell you that there were more New Yorkers who voted for President Trump in the most recent presidential election because of that focus on cost of living, and I'm looking forward to working together to deliver on that affordability agenda.
I got a lot of votes. One more. Go ahead. One or two more. Go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing up. You know, I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone crazy. You know, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group.
God, people are so... Oh, God, he loves Mamdani. He's also getting high ratings. He loves Mamdani so much. Oh, he loves Mamdani so much. He's so happy. It's so funny, dude.
For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting.
Because of ideology, dummy. God, you're so stupid. Because this is the most left-wing person in power. And so this is America. This is the left in America gaining power in the most important municipal election in the country. And that's shocking, okay? Because the left has always been weak in the United States since FDR died, okay? With occasional possible blips. That's why this is interesting, dummy. You don't, but he's so stupid. He doesn't even know what ideology really is. God, he's so funny. This is so funny.
They come over from countries nobody cares, but they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was going to ask you exactly that. Why do you think there's so much more, so much excitement around this than in some form?
Because I think he's different. All right, I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way. But I think he's different than, your typical guy runs, wins, becomes mayor maybe, and nothing exciting, because he has a chance to really do something great for New York. New York is at a very critical point, and he does need the help of the federal government to really succeed, and we're going to be helping him. But He's different.
God, the billionaires are fuming right now. You know, the right-wing billionaires are fuming. They're like, we got to yell at Trump about this. They're so mad. They're fuming. They're fucking fuming. JD Pondon. I mean, honestly, did Xi Jinping give him some sort of like, when they met, did he give him some sort of chip? Did he insert a chip into his brainstem? Like, what happened?
Than, you know, your average candidate. Hey, he came out of nowhere. I said he has a great campaign manager standing over there.
By the way, his campaign manager is a far-left socialist. His chief of staff is probably one of the most left-wing people in the entire Mamdani campaign. His new chief of staff is probably one of the most left-wing people in the whole campaign. So this is funny. He's literally praising one of the most socialist people in the Mamdani group. Ellie is a pure W.
He came out of nowhere. Would you start off at 1 or 2? And then I watched. I said, who is this guy? He was at 1, then he was at 3, then he was at 5, then he was at 9. Then he went up to 17. I said, let's get a little bit interesting, right? And then all of a sudden he wins a primary that nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great tribute. I mean, it's an amazing thing that he did.
And I'll just add one thing to what the president said. Is one thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR and the incredible work that was done with the New Deal and also in thinking about what it can look like when the federal government...
Again, FDR is a New Yorker. Donald Trump is a New York nationalist. He thinks New York is supreme. So, again, perfect way to talk to Donald Trump. Perfect way to Donald Trump is that FDR is a New Yorker. So you can just say, a lot of people say he's one of the best presidents. He's from New York. I'm from New York. Donald Trump is like too dim to understand ideology. It's actually, this is so funny. Holy fuck. He understands Trump better than me. I didn't think, like, I thought I understood Trump well, but then Zohran has unlocked a new insight. He's a New York nationalist. Oh my God. This is like a deeper understanding. I am like, this is why I think Zohran is I'm such a Zohran supporter because he understands this shit. He actually understands what he's doing.
And New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
You know, we have a great portrait of FDR that I found in the vaults that was missing for years. I found it and I put it up. He's a Democrat, to the best of my knowledge. He's a Democrat. And when the mayor saw that portrait, he said, "Sir, do you mind if I have a picture taken by that portrait?" It's an amazing portrait. I hope the picture comes out good. But it's an amazing portrait in the cabinet room. So he's a big fan of the New Deal.
This is so, Zohran is so smart. Holy fuck. Because Trump is the president. This is something that is probably underestimated. Have you guys ever heard of the President's Club? You know what that is? All former presidents they're part of this group called the President's Club. And aggrandizing the presidency is really aggrandizing any president, right? So by aggrandizing FDR, who's also a New Yorker, Donald Trump, all you do is go like, listen, you know, Donald Trump is like aggrandizing himself in a certain sense, even though they don't agree on literally anything. Holy fuck, this is so funny. I'm dying. I will say this about Zohran. He hasn't said it. He hasn't given Trump anything. Trump is the only one who's given him anything. He hasn't said anything other than, I'm going to work with the president where we agree to make New York better. That's all he said.
Delivering public safety with the NYPD, and I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction from what you're at right now? Are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the headcount that we had through the campaign.
And not replace them with caseworkers, social work?
No, I've said that's the headcount that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes, we did. Commissioner Fish.
If the newspapers are correct.
That one they're correct about.
One thing that I was posting yesterday, which I want to draw your attention to, chat, is because Mamdani is a socialist, they're so distracted with that they're not talking about the major win he just promised. We talked about it yesterday, but one of the things that the left has been trying to abolish in NYPD is something called the NYPD Strategic Response Group. And Mamdani said yesterday he recommitted to abolishing it, which has been a major goal of the ACLU and police reformers in New York. and it is a group for counterterrorism and policing protests or riots. So they're going to abolish this. If you guys remember, during the protests, there was a bunch of cops with bicycles that kept like attacking protesters and like shoving them with the bicycles. That's part of the group, and they're being abolished.
He retained, I think, somebody that is she's a good friend of some of the people in my family, of Ivanka, and they say she's really good, really competent, and he just retained her, so that's a good sign.
Are there still topics that you see the two disagreeing on in the future, and do you think you'll have more meetings like this?
There will be topics that we disagree on. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion, and ultimately, he'll convince me, or I'll convince him. You know, it's for the good of New York. Ultimately, it's for the good of New York. I don't care about affiliations or parties or anything else. I want to see if this city could be unbelievable, if he could be a spectacular success, I'd be very happy.
Do you think you guys will meet more in the future, too?
Excuse me?
Do you think you'll meet again in the future, you know, throughout the administration?
I think we will. Yeah. I think we will. I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't, but...
How are these reporters so stupid? How do they not know that that Donald Trump is enamored with Zohran? They are hurting the Republican Party so badly. And these are the right-wing reporters. How are they this stupid? The first time Donald Trump showed that he was in a good mood and he likes Zohran, they should have realized we're not going to ask him any questions like this because he's going to give Zohran a win. Trump is glazing him and saying he's not a jihadist and I would live in his city. You guys should probably have figured out the best thing to do would be to end this as soon as possible. Why is it Trump? By the way, where is Trump's press corps? How are they not rescuing him? How are his press secretaries so stupid? They should be getting him out of there. Like, they are giving Zohran everything he wants and more. This is a complete Zohran this is like, I can't imagine winning this hard. I didn't think it was possible to win this hard in this interaction. I almost think Zohran is winning too hard. People are going to be like, what did Zohran say? They're going to be suspicious because Zohran won so hard.
She's out there campaigning, and you know, you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person, but you really have to ask her about that. But I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again, and I can say again, because New York was great. You know, when I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot. It was doing great. We were having some telltale signs of problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job, but still, it was moving along. And it went bad. It really went, you know, pretty bad. And he can, I think it's been at lower points, but it went pretty bad. I think he can bring it back. Now, the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before, which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him.
I think part of the problem is that Donald Trump is a profoundly non-political guy in the sense of like understanding ideology and understanding ideas and understanding this kind of shit. And I don't think like everyone around him is a part of the right-wing ideological sphere, right? Where they are opposed to the idea of making New York great if it means taxing rich people. Whereas I don't think Trump doesn't really care about that. It's more about what makes things better for you. And sometimes you can make more money even though taxes are higher. Whereas the people that support Trump are ideologically opposed to taxes as if they're bad. Whereas for Trump, he doesn't care. It's more about what do you need to do to win?
Thank you very much, everybody.
You chose not to answer the question about the city hall protest.
Thank you very much.
Oh, no, I care very deeply about Jewish safety, and I look forward to rooting out anti-Semitism across the 5 boroughs and protecting Jewish New Yorkers and every New Yorker who calls the City Hall.
Can you imagine having your ideology in the hands of Trump? Oh man, our ideology is in the hands of Zohran Mamdani and their ideology is in the hands of Trump. Oh, that's funny. Oh, we're gonna beat your asses so badly. Life is good, isn't it, chat? Holy shit, dude. Like, what do you even say? Trump after 5 minutes with Mamdani.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
That's crazy.